guys. Reason why I'm running a little bit late tonight is because of the topic of the show. I came up with it at the last moment, and I figured that that's what this platform's for. Controversial topics that get people talking that most shows wouldn't cover. They wouldn't have the courage to cover it. I got to cover it. So when I thought, I said, do I want to make this topic the topic? Because it's so... All right, the topic, let me make sure we stream it everywhere so I don't have to repeat it. There we go. We're everywhere. All right, we're everywhere. Welcome, Midcat people. How y'all doing? Welcome, people on YouTube, Wolfpack people. Tim Black's Wolfpack, Stitcher Radio, Blog Talk Radio, iTunes. Tonight's topic is controversial as hell, but I think we can handle it. I think we can be mature adults and have a fruitful conversation that gets people thinking, and we can be open enough to listen to different sides of an argument. The topic tonight is affirmative action. So yeah. Okay. And we already know when you hear the term affirmative action, it brings up some stuff to your mind. It automatically makes you say, okay, are we gonna be fighting tonight? Are we gonna have people trolling? Are we gonna be saying very hateful things? Can we be honest about how we feel? Can we present some facts, some data? The whole thing, right? So let me set the table like I always try to do. And let's see if we can at least have a starting point. I started off with using what's already out there in the news, what's already being talked about in one-way conversations in our news media. Okay. The Supreme Court heard oral arguments in a case that could forever change the policy of affirmative action in America. One woman's name continued to bubble up on social media, and that name is Abigail Fisher. Fisher, the plaintiff in the case and the subject of the Stay Mad Abby hashtag that took over Twitter, claimed she was denied admission to the University of Texas at Austin because the school considered race in its admission process. Once again, she claimed she was denied admission to the University of Texas at Austin because the school considered race in its admission process. She blamed the school, not black people in general, but the school looking at race as a basis or a consideration, right, when deciding on who would attend the school, okay? That's the first thing. So let's make sure we get that right. But they've been dragging Abigail for a minute. Abigail, Stay Mad Abby. Stay Mad Abby. Okay. You at the university. Okay, that was it. I lost place trying to explain that shit. Fisher says she did everything right. She worked hard in school. She played the cello. Probably didn't even like the cello. Played the cello. Volunteered. Earned respectable test scores. Write down. You need to take notes like me. Respectable test scores. Respectable. But was at a disadvantage because she is white. Okay. Yet the university argues that race is just one of many factors it uses to consider applicants and had no bearing on its decision to deny Fisher's application. The court is expected to decide on the case next year. In the meantime, here's what you should know about the woman who put many an end to who may put an end to diversity efforts in higher education. All right, I stumbled all over that, but you get the gist of it, right? So that's the Abby case, Abigail Fisher case. Some people have sent me information about this earlier this week. So I know I'm privy to a few things about the case, such as she did not meet the minimum requirements. She didn't meet the requirements based on grade point average. So it really is a moot conversation. I can't complain that I did everything right when I don't meet the requirements to be admitted. Now, if I'm wrong about that, about those factors, to me, that's the most dominating fact. When we talk about Abigail Fisher specifically, I don't understand how we're having a conversation about this if the woman didn't meet the requirements. What am I missing? Am I missing something? People, you got to call up and let me know. The number is 323-870-4064. That's the first thing about Abigail. She was a University of Texas in Austin legacy applicant, meaning her parents went to the school. Fisher grew up in Sugar Land, Texas, about 150 miles from Austin. As a child, she had some important Longhorn role models in her life, including her father and sister. Not her father and mother, but her father and her sister went to the school. She says, I dreamt of going to UT ever since the second grade. She said this in a 2012 video released by her legal team. My dad went there, my sister went there, and tons of friends and family. And it was a tradition I wanted to continue. That word tradition, just want to write that down. The UT system bans the consideration of legacy status when evaluating applicants. However, an independent investigation conducted earlier this year found that alumni influence may have led to the admission of some students who had below average test scores. Okay. Another thing you need to know is that she applied in a very competitive year. When Fisher applied to the school in 2008, Austin automatically offered admission to students in the top 10% of their high school graduating class. The university has since reduced that amount to 7%. Fisher, who graduated from high school with a 3.59 GPA and scored a 1180 out of 1600 on her SAT, did not finish in the top 10%. That's what I meant by GPA. I'm sorry, guys, I misspoke. It was the combination of GPA and SAT scores that didn't qualify her, okay? Important distinction. GPA was good. That's what she meant by she got the grades. But it's a combination. So that's what it was. Okay. And I'm glad I read that because I'm sure somebody was like, I'm going to call up, he's wrong. Okay, so I got it. I corrected myself. She did not finish in the top 10% of her high school class and was thus left to compete for the 841 spots reserved for non-top tier students. Fisher's chances for admission were therefore much lower than the school's overall acceptance rate of roughly 43%. Once she did not meet the criteria, that put her in a very difficult situation. Not just her. Everybody was in that situation. Okay? We keep going a little bit further. Her grades weren't good enough because she wasn't a top 10% student. Austin evaluated Fisher using her grades, test scores, and what was called a personal achievement index. Admissions officers weighed academic achievements along with applicants' essays, leadership roles, extracurricular activities, and special circumstances, which include criteria such as race and socioeconomic status. Fisher has argued that by considering these circumstances, the university discriminated against her for being white. So that's what her argument is. These special circumstances that were added to did not benefit her. And she said if she would have had the benefit of being black or Latino, or Asian, or Native American, she would have been given that. Okay? Too often they frame this issue as a black and white issue when affirmative action helps minorities. And women are a minority. Women, Native Americans, Latinos, Asians, Native Americans. But all the time, it's like every time I look, it's always framed, black people taking all the jobs. And black. But anyway, okay, we keep going. All right, you know what? I'm gonna stop there. We gonna get some more of the data, the background story as we go. I'm sure that's enough to get us started. Maybe enough for the whole show, actually, because I'm sure this is one of those things. I just want to throw in some of the facts about Abigail, because I'm sure not everybody knows the story. And as we talk about it, we want to refer back to some of the actual data. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's get it going. I got a couple people waiting to talk about it now. Let me bring them into effect. Hey, Kim, how you doing, lady? Hello? Hey, Kim, can you hear me? I'm hoping everything's good. I'm gonna hold off. Let me see. Maybe it's me. Or maybe Kim's just listening. Let me make sure. Hey, Mr. Montague, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right.
All right. You was exactly, man. You're the perfect person to call up, man, because you inspired me to do this topic. Actually.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, you did,
Yeah.
man. And And I know you have a lot to say about the topic, so let me let you go ahead and get it kicked off, my friend. I appreciate it.
Sure. Well, in the Facebook group on your Speak On It Facebook group, I pointed out some important information, like, for example, how overall the people who have benefited the most from affirmative action programs have been white women, specifically white women. In fact, they have benefited, as you pointed out later on, they have benefited more from affirmative action than every other group that affirmative action was supposed to help. And that's all together. So white women have benefited more from affirmative action than black people, than Latinos, than Asians, Middle Easterners. But yet, when they fight this court case, when they go through this court case, you would swear up and down that it's just us. It's all just black people who are benefiting from affirmative action. And I think that's what may have inspired the Supreme Court to retake the case after originally, kicking back the case.
Exactly.
And what another point that I don't know if you mentioned this just yet, because I was just tuning into the to the YouTube.
Okay.
But it was also mentioned that in the same year that Fisher applied to get into school, there were 42 white students who had worse grades than she did, and yet she was still accepted. Yet there were only 5 black and Latino students total that were able to get it, and they have worse grades. So if anything, it's obvious that affirmative action is clearly benefiting white people, like I said, more than any other race. Especially when you look at the families who give lots of money to some of these colleges,
right,
in order to help their kids get into the school. They have legacy privilege. Exactly. Or that because they're alumni of the school, they can they should be able to get their kids to go be able to get into school.
Exactly.
Like, nobody talks about those forms of affirmative action, but yet every time we hear affirmative action, it's just the first face that comes up is black people.
Right.
And that's part of that narrative, that conditioning that we keep on referring to, is that cultural conditioning that sees that, anytime that a black person, like if a black person, has something, he got it because of some special benefit.
Right. Right.
He got the job because he got it because of affirmative action. He got into school because of affirmative action, not because of our work, not because of our talents, our merits, and our qualifications that would show that we are just as capable as anybody else. Nah, we got special treatment. But
Right.
we got special treatment because they have quotas to fill, and I think that in the long run that's had an impact on the black community because that has led to the marginalization of us in the workforce. Because, like I said, instead of us being seen as people that are capable of doing the work and be able to do it effectively as anybody else, along with the other things like like the fact that we're seen as we're given the same consideration as a white person with a criminal record when it comes to hiring, and that even the employers have even come out and said that they would discriminate against black people based on the sound of their name. Those kind of things. That instead of us being, like I said, instead of us being considered for our capabilities, we're seen as people that are just there to help a business or a school get more funding or something of that nature. It's not because we got there through hard work and dedication.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
And that's not, I'm reading in the YouTube comments, some people saying that's an assumption. No, I can provide evidence of this.
Right.
I can provide evidence. I've read, there are articles that have been published by reputable sources confirming everything that I just said. That employers are discriminating against people who have different sounding names,
Right.
and so on. It's not me. Like I said, I'm not talking no Alex Jones bullshit. It's out there in the public.
Right.
It's verifiable.
Yes, it is. And actually, all you got to do is Google it. I mean, the studies that we refer to, they are commonplace knowledge. Mr. Montague, I used to think that people, I used to think by and large more people knew about these things, that they were just not talking about them, that they did understand. Like, I used to think that white folks in particular, the educated white folks knew about discrimination, but it was the uneducated white folks who were doing all of the talking on social media. And maybe that's the case. I know that's the case some of the time, but I'm beginning to believe it's the case in most cases.
Well, I mean, my thing is that, like they said, it's part of their conditioning because you have those same people being told,
Right.
The same rural white Americans or whatnot being told that, they got to where they are because of hard work and whatnot,
Right.
and just by that alone, despite them being poor, they're always going to be better than the next black man. That's why, that's why you see the conditions you see in the Appalachian, out in West Virginia and whatnot. Because they've been fed that conditioning, and in the meantime, you have those same politicians that have been telling them that bullshit have been also voting, against environmental protections, which is why certain parts of certain rivers in West Virginia, for example, have been contaminated with coal ash, with toxic chemicals and whatnot.
Right.
Which when they try to get a drink of water, they can set it on fire because it's that contaminated. You know what I'm saying? And they're still trying to find decent work. They have no healthcare access.
Right.
But yet they still feeding into that lie. And that's that same thing going on when it comes to affirmative action. Is that these people that are against affirmative action, they have been feeding out that lie. They have to feed out that lie.
And see, that's the thing, though, Mr. Montague, and this is where I want to get to, and I know it's a little early in the conversation tonight. I want all people, black, white, Latino, Asian, everyone. That's what this channel is about. But I want us all to become more educated. Look, the media propaganda has led people to believe a false narrative. That narrative is that black people receive all of these benefits from affirmative action. That's just not the case. Look, when you go, think about it like this. When businesses are started, okay, let's look at affirmative action in the workplace. when people start businesses, and we know that there's opportunity in the fact that you have a minority business. Did you know that white women are considered a minority and they get set asides? They can get a piece of the pie as well. Well, the majority of business set-asides to minorities are given to white women. But not all of those white women are single. A lot of those white women are married to white men. Did you get what I'm saying? So while the white guy, the average white guy is sitting back going, all these white people, all these minorities are taking the jobs and they're getting the business set-asides. He's not thinking about his next door neighbor just got his wife to apply using her. And now he gets to set aside, but her name's on the top of the masthead. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the thing is, when it comes to women in general, getting a set aside, that's mainly because back when JFK made the original executive order bringing affirmative action into law, which basically, and for those that are I'm not trying to digress, but I feel like I need to give a clear history lesson to people that don't know this. Affirmative action was originally an executive order that was put into place by JFK, who basically saying that any business or entity doing contracts, doing business with the government, they have to ensure that a certain amount of employees are, blacks, with Asians, Latinos, and whatnot. Basically, they have to reassure that they were trying to, have a diverse workplace.
Right.
That comprised of people from different walks of life.
Exactly.
Now, of course, JFK got assassinated. LBJ comes into power, and he amends that executive order to include women. So that's how women also wind up getting that set aside. But like I said, what wound up happening, because of women being included and having that set aside, that has led to that the disproportionate amount of white women receiving, benefiting from affirmative action more than any other group of people that are considered minorities in America.
And I just want to underscore his point earlier. Not only do they benefit more, but in most cases, in most categories, the amount of benefit that white women receive from affirmative action equals or exceeds that of all other minorities combined. So let's just say we're looking at 100%. The white, all the minorities will make up 50%, and the white woman's portion would make up the other 50%. This is not something, right. This is not a natural way, a logical way you would think of it. But see, that's the manipulation of the media to turn you. It's not to turn you. Look, the media doesn't want to turn you against your wife. The media wants to turn you against me. You understand? You against me.
They want to turn you against your neighbor.
There you go. There you go.
They want to turn you against your neighbor. Because I'm reading some of the comments in the YouTube. I'm not necessarily, I want everybody to know, I'm not trying to play the race card. What I want everybody to do is, instead of thinking that I'm trying to play a race card, please take time to research what I'm saying. Take time to research what Tim is saying. This stuff, it goes, like you can go back on many other tangents, like the convict lease laws and how it led to the prison industrial complex and whatnot, and you'll see some of the same patterns repeating themselves, and it's the same thing going on with affirmative action. Like I said, I'm not talking any Alex Jones bullshit. This stuff that we're speaking of here, you and I, Chum, stuff that you were speaking of here is easily verifiable. And in the Facebook group, I posted articles, providing that information. Anybody who if you're willing to do the research and see on this topic and see the information that I'm providing to everybody, then we can easily turn this narrative around, and we can perhaps put pressure on the Supreme Court to basically uphold affirmative action.
Right. Exactly.
Like I said, but like I said, it takes people. People need to really research these things.
Right, right. They need to research it. And once again, it's not about demonizing anyone. It's just giving you the information so that you can now look at it. I want people to start looking into the light of it, looking at it from the standpoint of, well, you know what? Why is it framed this way? Why are they pitting black against white in this issue if it includes Latinos, disabled veterans from wartime, if it includes Hispanics, Latinos, Asian, Pacific Islanders, American Indians, Alaskan Natives, other underrepresented groups, including veterans, disabled veterans who served active duty during the war campaign, veterans who participated in a military operation. There's a number of groups. All of those groups, I just named you off 8 groups. But whenever people talk about affirmative action, for some reason, it's white guy against black guy. And that's it.
And the funny thing is that Supreme Court case, the Fisher case,
right.
If you read their arguments, that's exactly how they framed it. That's exactly how they're framing it. That's why you had Scalia coming out asking whether black people would be better off in slower schools. Like, if this is not a race, if this is not a race issue, why are you asking? Why would this Supreme Court justice be asking that kind of question?
Right.
Why wouldn't you be considering the overall facts of the case?
Exactly.
Instead of just saying, asking, and we're talking about the same judge that felt that that certain parts of the Voting Rights Act was a racial entitlement. So if anybody is, like I said, please take the time to research this. Just research. And y'all see this. There's a lot more to this issue. This issue is just a part of the puzzle.
Right, just a part of the puzzle, and as we progress, another point I want to bring up is how it's not just affirmative action in the sense of some people want to say they look at it like they say, why can't we just be a colorblind society? And the problem with that is that unless we make up for where some people start off and where they are now, unless we make up for that, it's going to be a disparity because it's already uneven. You don't understand? It's already uneven. If there are only 30 slots and there are 28 seats taken, well, now is not the time to say, let's play fair. We need to get these 2 seats filled by these people that are underrepresented. You understand what I'm saying? It's just, it's the time that you come to the ball game. It's the time that you arrive at the seats. Is where we are now. We can't make up for the past, but we have to try to level the whole idea. My understanding, Mr. Montague, the whole idea of affirmative action was to try to start leveling the field.
That's exactly what it was about. Exactly what it was about. It was about trying to level the playing field to basically make up for segregation, to make up for slavery, to help black folks and other disadvantaged minorities, was to help them, finally have an economic floor and be able to build their own wealth and whatnot. But as we've seen, since Reagan, those programs that were meant to actually help us finally get somewhere, have been decimated. They have been, torn apart, and other policies have been put in their place.
Right.
Because, of course, trickle-down economics and all that bullshit.
Right, right. They never quite trickle down. And
that's one thing that, when you look at what it means, a trickle, it's basically a slow drip.
Right.
And that's basically exactly, so in essence, trickle-down economics actually plays out because it's a slow little drip. When you look at the word trickle, you look at that first syllable, the word
trick. That's right, trick.
So everybody was duped into believing trickle-down economics actually worked in the first place.
Right. It worked for the ones on top. It always worked.
Yeah,
Right.
people, and it's that's been a part of it the whole time. They're trying to reverse all the gains that were made back in the 50s, back in the 60s and 70s, where the people at the bottom were actually starting to accumulate wealth and start getting themselves out of poverty.
Right.
They're
Right.
trying to reverse all that so that everything goes back up to the 1%. And now you're seeing that 50 million Americans are poor. And on top of that, the so-called middle class is basically just about gone now.
Exactly. It wasn't the GI Bill that was only available for to white folks coming back from the war.
I'm not sure about that necessarily.
Okay.
I would have to. I've heard that. I know. When it came to what I think it was the Social Security Act or something like that. When they first rolled out Social Security, I do believe that was, that was made available only to whites at first, and then, over time it became, where everyone that paid into the system could claim benefits.
Because my understanding was after World War II, there was it Eisenhower? I'm not sure. Oh no, Roosevelt. Because it was Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they passed a bill where if you served in the military, you were able to get a loan to buy a home, and that loan was slated specifically for white folks. Like black folks could not get that loan. They could not get the loan to buy the home. That's my understanding. And as we all know, the chief source of creating wealth in the United States is what? Home ownership. So if you deprive someone of home ownership,
that's a part of it.
right? That's
what part of it. Yeah.
Right. And specific, especially back in the 50s, the 40s. I mean, come on, what else was there? We were just entering a depression in the 30s. Then we had wartime, and what else were people using? What other mechanism? But that was the easiest, surefire way for you to build wealth is by home ownership or property ownership. And since black people didn't get a chance to take advantage of that, that was one reason why the affirmative action was so needed.
Mm-hmm.
Your grandparents took advantage of that. If they went to war, they did.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Because at first, when it first came up,
right.
Like there were certain provisions of it that some of the senators at the time were against, like mainly the unemployment provision.
Okay.
Like they agreed on the education and home loan benefits, but when it came to the unemployment provision, which basically said they would get paid as long as they were, unemployed or whatever, right. They were against that, and that's the part they were basically considering, to be welfare.
Home loan benefits. That's it. Right,
yeah.
Right. Well,
I mean, like I said, there's a lot of other policies that being that, but like I am Googling right now as we're talking. I'm trying to find some additional history on the on the GI Bill to kind of so I can share it with everybody.
Yeah, please do. Hey, Montague, please do, man. And look, thank you so much. Let me call back in if you get a chance, if you get any new information, man, and we'll share it with the people because they need to know.
Matter of fact, hold on just a second.
Okay.
Because I'm coming up on an article from demos.org. And it's talking about how the GI Bill left out African Americans.
That's it.
All right, and it's written by David Callahan on November 11th, 2013. All right, I'm trying to find the relevant part of this. All right, I'm starting from basically the middle of the paragraph, all right, from the middle of the article. All right, there are lots of reasons that whites have so much more wealth than non-whites. How the GI Bill played out is one of those reasons. Whites were able to use the government-guaranteed housing loans that were a pillar of the bill to buy homes in the fast-growing suburbs. Those homes subsequently rose greatly in value in the coming decades, creating vast new household wealth for whites during the post-war era. But black veterans weren't able to make use of the housing provisions of the GI Bill for the most part. Banks generally wouldn't make loans for mortgages in black neighborhoods, and African Americans were excluded from the suburbs by a combination of deed covenants and informal racism. So basically, even though blacks were able to, they were able to get access to the GI Bill,
right,
because of racist policies, that was put into practice by the banks.
Mm-hmm.
Some of which we know as redlining,
exactly,
and blockbusting.
Right.
Yeah, what we know as redlining and blockbusting. That's what hampered black people's ability to be able to use those loans, to be able to take advantage of those loans to get themselves a home.
Exactly. And so, how does that tie together with affirmative action? Simple. Not being afforded the same opportunities, JFK was attempting to level the playing field. That's why I think going back, that's why I believe, Mr. Montague, that we need to continue affirmative action, and actually we need to focus affirmative action on the groups of people who need it most. So if we want to decrease affirmative action, how about we laser it to the people most disenfranchised instead of the people least disenfranchised?
Exactly. We'll put it like this. What I would love to see is that we don't even need the program, because everybody would treat people, employers and whatnot, would treat people fairly and equally as we should, by that standard, the old-timey religion standard of treating others as you would treat yourself.
Right. That would be great. I would love for us to be at that place.
Exactly. The thing is, and this goes back to the whole capitalist system that we live in. You know what I'm saying? You have to really dig deep in it. Why must there be forms of equality in place in order for an economic system to exist? You know what I'm saying? Why must we have poor people?
Right.
In order for the economic system to exist.
Right.
Why must we have, why must there be unemployment?
Right.
Because that's the thing. They know that the government knows that if they were to invest in all the necessary programs to help get our country back on the right track, to fix our infrastructure up, and all that good stuff, and our education and mass transportation and all that, that employment would basically be at zero.
Right.
And it wouldn't exist. But yet it's like this government has insisted on maintaining some level of unemployment. Why do we need that if capitalism is such a great system that's capable of supporting everybody?
Right.
It just doesn't make sense.
Right. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because people will always game the system. I got so many points I got to get to, Montague, man. Look, man, I appreciate you. I feel like we just did the Tim Black and Montague show, but you know what I'm saying?
I could go on and on and on, but for anybody that's in the Facebook Speak On It group, if you haven't joined, please join it. If y'all already are, then just look out for some of the stuff that I put out, because I put out earlier today, two key things, like how, for example, everybody talks about how the black community doesn't do anything to address crime, but yet we have black churches working with the federal government to get black people with warrants to come in and turn themselves in, to surrender to police.
Wow.
And so, it's a lot of stuff that I would like for y'all to see. And so please join that group.
Right.
I will call in as much as I can, because the more, as the show G.I. Joe would say, knowledge is only half the power.
That's it.
And then the other half is red and blue blazers.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, man. Hey, thank you, Montague. Give it up for Montague and that informative material.
You're welcome, everybody.
You know it, man. You know it. Wow, 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 wow. Look. I got some people that are calling in. They've been hanging in there for a minute. I'm going to go to you. Darn it, I got to come. Look, all I can tell you is if you are watching this show and you are pissed off, that's good. You need to be pissed off. At least you're thinking. At least you're not comatose sitting on your couch watching some garbage. All right? Hopefully, by the end of this show, if you give me the remaining of this show duration, I'll have some points for you that I think will make you think very deeply. All right? Very deeply. So if you just be patient, I got some stuff for you. All right, let me keep it moving, though, because these people have been more than patient with my show tonight, and I want to bring them in. Hey, how you doing? You're live with Tim Black. Who's this?
It's Bianchi. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Is this your first time calling, Deontay?
Yeah, I was just listening. I heard things that wasn't accurate that I wanted to correct.
Okay, what's not accurate?
Well, the gentleman was talking about GI Bill. The federal government, have never written nothing into law that specifically prevent blacks from engaging in the 1900s this way. Now, the GI Bill, like the gentleman said, GI Bill was made. Blacks could have took advantage, but you had other things where you had discrimination, like the red line and banks and so forth, where they couldn't get the loans, and that's what prevented them from taking advantage of the perks with the GI Bill.
So you're saying they could get the GI Bill, they were applicable for the GI Bill, but they couldn't use it to buy a home?
Well, it's just like a loan guarantee. If you can't get the loan, then the government portion of it can't kick in. If you understand what I'm saying.
I get you. I get you.
There you go.
I get you.
And you see the same thing with the discrimination in jobs. For instance, on construction jobs, in commercial construction. Here in the St. Louis area, they had a dissent decree back in the 1970s where blacks would become about 20%, 22% of commercial construction, whereas today they're down to 2%. Blacks have had stage marches in the St. Louis area. The most recently, about a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, on the Mississippi River Bridge, which spans between St. Louis and East St. Louis. East St. Louis is 90% black or more. St. Louis was at least 60% black, but they wasn't hiring on those jobs, that construction job, where blacks was representative of their numbers that they made up in the population. So they threatened to shut the job down. Even blacks who was well-trained, drug tested, and prepared to go to work was not being hired until they put forth those things. They shut down Highway 70 here at Goodfellow and Highway 70 when white contractors was coming through the black portion of town and not having any blacks in their workforce. So, they had to resort to those things. Now, affirmative action. Johnson had nothing to do with affirmative action. It was Richard Nixon that had things to do with affirmative action at the behest of Archie Fletcher at the time.
Okay,
I don't know if you remember.
JFK started it, right? Is that correct?
Well, JFK put forth those acts.
Okay.
Like the Civil Rights Act and so forth.
Right, gotcha.
But programs like affirmative action, that came under the helm of Richard Nixon.
Okay.
Archie Fletcher went to Chicago first to try to work on the issue of blacks not being in the construction industry. And, the big labor bosses didn't like that. And matter of fact, they had threatened to kill him. Richard Nixon called Daley up, who's the mayor of Chicago, and said, if y'all harm a hair on this black man's head, I will have the 82nd Airborne marching down Michigan Avenue come Monday morning. So, another thing Nixon done too, he worked to help start an all-black town by putting millions of federal dollars into it, and also white philanthropists, and building roads, infrastructure, and factories. That town was called Soul City, which exists today in North Carolina. but blacks didn't move to it like they was hoping to. There's another project called Freedom Town in South Carolina too that came about under those auspices. Now I can't think of the brother that was working with Nixon on that town. It eludes my escapes my thoughts right now.
Okay.
But as far as affirmative action are concerned, in the schools, I can see, the ethnic group, well, should I say, the blacks that make up the largest percentages on some of these on your Ivy League schools are black Africans. They not born here in this country, or first generation that's born here in this country.
Right.
And they make up as much as 40% of the population on some of your Ivy League schools, your Harvards and your Yales and so forth. Now, another thing, too.
Interesting.
We look at affirmative action from the education standpoint.
Okay.
But we need to be looking at affirmative action from the business standpoint.
Correct.
And that is being a business standpoint of your manufacturing and produce goods. Now, you have about 24 companies here in the United States that does black beauty products. Some of them does tremendous good. One does over $200 million worth of business a year. And they demand, or should I ask, that stores like your Macy's, your Walmarts, your Targets, your Walgreens, they demand shelf space, 15% of the shelf space. And that's what I think that the next level that blacks should start using affirmative action, not just on schools, but also, when it comes down to economics and the markets.
I agree. Wow, that's very informative. What's your name again, sir? I couldn't quite get your first name.
My name is Tianti.
Tianti.
And you got feedback pretty bad, sir.
Really?
Now, another thing, too. I have seen cases when they have given opportunity, blacks who's in position will hire as many of, black people as they possibly can. It happened in the East St. Louis School District where you had a black woman who was in charge of procurement. And what she would do, she would break down bid packages into small sizes where a black contractor could get bonding for. In that case, you had a case with a lady who was in H&R with one of the local utility companies, and she hired as many blacks as she possibly could, which I think was a good thing because of the history.
I hear you. Actually, my callers are saying is your voice is giving us the feedback, sir.
Well,
yeah, just a little bit.
Yes, when I say something, I can hear myself delayed.
Like an echo. Okay, yeah. But
it's an echo. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. But wow, look, sir, I just want to tell you we appreciate your phone call and definitely some information we need to take in. Have a program.
Go ahead. Have a program on how this thing about education as it's applied to African American, black and African American children, what should be done in order to alleviate this problem, because a lot of this is not the children's fault. Let's get that out there. This is black society's fault. Nobody's going to give black children the tools that they need where they can compete against everybody, especially whites. They're not going to do that. And that falls on black society's thing.
Okay.
There's no reason in 2015 why we should have these dismal academic performances that we see going on in education, especially public education. And if you ever have a show on that, I would like to, reveal my input.
Okay. Well, we should do that. I do a show every night. There's no reason why we couldn't make a night for that, definitely. Look me up on Facebook. There won't be any feedback on my Facebook group, Speak On It group, and that's where people say, hey, Tim, let's do this topic. How about we do a show on this topic, that topic? That's where I kind of get the ideas from. Tonight's show was a topic suggestion from one of our earlier callers.
Well, that sounds great.
No problem. Hey, thank you, sir, for your call. Hey, guys, give it up for my man whose name I don't know, but whose information we should take in. Damn, man, I hate that feedback. You guys getting feedback on Meerkat? How my Meerkat people doing? Haven't spoke to Meerkat people. Enjoy Tim Black and Montague show. Yeah, thank you, Belinda. Belinda, how you doing? You still flying through the air with your trapeze and stuff? Is that Belinda? No, that's Rosa. Rosa, I'm sorry, Rosa. What up, Rosa? I'm getting you mixed up with somebody who's a circus performer. I think her name is Belinda. I think. There's something I wanted to point out, and the young man who just got off the phone, he kind of alluded to it, and that is this. And before I take the next call, guys, let me get this in here for people. I'm gonna give you a little bit of context. When we talk about affirmative action, I think some people get bent out of shape because they look at the government having a say in hiring practices. Most people that I've known have gotten jobs through people that they knew. We can all admit, or most of us, I'm sure, can attest to that. You know somebody who got somebody a job, got them a referral, forwarded their resume. In fact, networking is the number one way to get employed. If you're just sitting at home sending out resumes, you're going to have to send out a lot of them in most cases. I'm not even going to bring up the discrimination based on the resumes, if your names sound black. I mean, there's studies for that. It's very depressing stuff, but it's all reality. We got to accept it. Sorry, it's just the way it is. Here's my point. If we know that most jobs are filled and most opportunities are given to people who know people in positions of power, and if we know that most people in power are old white guys, it is not a far leap to say that some other people who don't know old white guys or wasn't birthed by old white guys or went to school with the old white guys, they may be a little bit disadvantaged. Why is this such a hard concept to understand? Or is it that people are just not putting logic into play? People hire and recommend people they know. People tend to know people, their sons, their daughters, nepotism, family members, people their daughter married, friends they went to school with. This is just natural. I'm not saying there's something wrong with it. It's what people do. But until black people own enough shit where they can then turn and say, I'm going to give my son this opportunity. Let me give my daughter that opportunity. Hey, Bob, could you, hey, how you doing, man? What's up, man? Hey, yo, my son's looking for a job. Until we have enough businesses where we can compete at that level, we're going to be at a disadvantage. You use affirmative action every time somebody's ever hooked you up. And it may not be you. But what I'm saying is the community, the numbers. Let's just face it. America is pretty white. 60-something% last time I checked. There are a lot of rich white guys hooking a lot of rich white guys and other white guys up. It's just what it is. I didn't make it that way. It's not an indictment on you. Okay? It's what it is. I shouldn't have to apologize for the reality. I didn't create the reality, neither did you. But we got to do something about the reality because if it continues this way, it'll never change. So stop looking at Oprah and stop looking at Magic Johnson as if, these two black people got all this stuff. What about all the other people who don't have shit? Stop judging advancement by Obama. We got a black president, therefore everything's over. America's more racist right now probably than it's been in the last 30 years. People feel like they're losing the country as if the president is the king and runs all things in the country. When we all know that's not to be true. So the racism is really seeped out. But at the end of the day, what affects more people? Not who's in the White House, but who's at the head of that company who can get your resume and put you at the front of the line. Or avoid an interview altogether. So that's really what privilege is. And unfortunately, if your parents don't know nobody to give you the hookup, that's unfortunate. You know what? West Indian people hook up West Indian people. What's the guys with the parking locations? The Egyptians? Oh man, in DC, oh man. If you are an Egyptian dude or whatever, you don't have to pay. I've been with them. They just hook each other up. Hook up. But I'm just saying, people hook each other up who know each other. That's all I'm saying. I'm not down on the Egyptians. But let's not act like that doesn't exist, man. Let's not act like that doesn't happen. Let's not act like that's not a reality. And we're talking about contracts where people hook up each other. All right, I'm gonna keep it moving. I am. I hope that made some sense. I just want to put it in a little bit of layman's terms. Same thing goes for teachers. All sides of industry, all things that touch us can be biased. And typically they are. Okay. Now I'm going to check you out and see if you want to. Hey, what's up, Los? Were you listening or did you want to chime in?
Oh, no. I want to chime in on this, man.
All right, now. What's up, my friend?
Man, it's affirmative action. It's a crappy situation because I feel like a big part of it is just human nature. What you pretty much was alluding to. People are going to take care of people that look like them, and they're going to relate to people that look like them. And I mean, like you was talking about with the job situations where, you know, it's all about who you know. You know, I'm an example of that. My white cousin, his uncle, he was doing contract work down here, so I was working with him. They seen how good I was, and he put in the work for me, and they gave me a job. And I mean, I did what I had to do to make it to the top of where I'm at. But at the end of the day, you know, like Dr. Boise said this, and it was so real. He was like, y'all, like white people are crying about affirmative action, but y'all have been getting affirmative action your whole lives.
Right.
I mean, but they don't call it affirmative action. You know, they call, you know, what we get right now affirmative action, but y'all been getting it your whole lives, you know, because, you know, your uncle, you know, he's a firefighter, so he gets you in here. Your cousin, he has a construction company, he gets you in here. And, you know, I don't know why so many people are in denial, because I was talking to my girlfriend's mother about it, and I told her, like, it'll never be equal because majority of the people who have the money in the business are white. And a lot of them, they're going to take care of their own people. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. But you can't get mad when the system has to step in because you can't make it an even playing field and be equal on how you do things.
Right. That's the reason why people fail to want to accept that there would not need to be affirmative action if people played fairly. They don't.
No, they don't. You know, and it's a reality, and like nobody wants, like people just want to lie to themselves. It's like either you're stupid or you just racist. And I mean, and I think it's a lot of both going on. I mean, nobody wants to be honest with themselves about what's really going on.
Right.
Yeah, but it frustrated me so much. Here it is. I think she's like maybe almost 6 years old. She did not even want to agree that majority in Nashville, Tennessee, majority of the business owners are white. She didn't even agree with it.
Because you know what it is? People. Nobody wants to be called racist. Nobody wants to accept. You know what? It's not even calling. That's what kills me as well, Carlos. I'm not saying you're a racist. I'm saying the system's racist. I didn't know you owned the system. When did you own the system? Well, heck, I need to take you out since you run it. I mean, you want to take responsibility and you want to act as if me cutting down the system is attacking you. Dude, you are not the system. The system is much bigger than you. You cannot take all the weight for the system. No, should you feel guilty for the system, but you should help bring down or change and modify and realign the system.
Man, it's sad. And like, what made me so mad is like, you're sitting here lying to yourself. You know, it's like, I'm not calling you racist. I'm just giving you facts. We can't even have a real conversation because Yeah, we can't even have a real conversation because you don't even want to be honest with yourself. And this is why nothing gets solved in America because the normal American way is to sweep it under the rug and act like it don't exist. And it is what it is. We know that people don't hire based on names. We know that people won't hire based on your race. We know that a lot of people won't hire based on your religion. It's the reality in America. And until people address it, it's never going to solve. Like we're never going to get you there. We're going to be in the same position we are 30 years from now.
Yep. Hell, man, we had a black girl who says she's not black. Raven Simone say she doesn't hire black sounding names. And you don't, I mean, come on. I mean, she's black. It's hard to get blacker than Raven Simone. And still, there are white folks who act like that doesn't exist. I mean, there's a black woman who says she don't hire black sounding names. You're off the hook. Believe me, you're off the hook. Raven Simone is more on the hook than you are. At least she admitted it.
God. Man, it's sad because it's like, that's one thing I try not to do. Because, I've made it through the system without, be going to jail. I got a decent job and all these things, but I don't, like what happens is a lot of people that get in that position, they try to act like the system don't exist because they wasn't affected by the system. And it's like, that's what I try not to be, that person that try to act like there isn't a system out there that try to put me in jail, that would tell me I'm not good enough, that would tell me I'm not smart enough. And like I said, until people sit back and be honest, nothing's going to get solved, because let's talk about the school systems. Let's talk about how they don't invest the same amount of money they do in the white neighborhood, because I've seen it. And the neighborhood I stayed in, like they was in the middle school, they was teaching them kids Dave Ramsey stuff. I've never heard about that. If they're not even doing that in the black high schools, let alone in the middle schools. It's crazy though. It's a reality. People don't want to fess up to it, but it's like you make yourself look more racist and stupid when you sit here and try to deny it. When we both can sit here and go by 10 stores and we see who running things around here.
Right. Exactly. Man.
Yeah. Man, what we gonna do with them, man?
We're gonna keep talking to them. We're gonna keep opening their eyes little bit by little and making everybody get on the same page of music. That's all. We're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, man. It's just, like I said, it's crappy because it's really just human nature for people to gravitate to their own, to people that look like them, to people they can relate to. I go into half of these jobs here in Nashville. I don't really know much about hunting. Like a lot of the white people around here like to hunt. The things that they grew up doing, I didn't grow up doing. This is like, I'm not real big into Star Wars. I'm not real big into Harry Potter, but I do know about Boys in the Hood. I do know about basketball.
Right.
But it's just the reality. Yeah, it's just a culture difference. You know what I mean? And it's like there's nothing wrong with that, but don't sit here and lie to my face and tell me that everything is equal when you know damn well it's not equal.
No, it's not. It's not equal.
Yeah, man.
All right, fam.
It's sad, man. It's sad, man.
It is. But look, man, hey, Carlos, thanks for your call, man. We'll keep it moving, man. Next time, man, put you on hold, bro. I appreciate you, man. Give it up for Carlos, man. Come on now. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share a piece right here, and if you're on hold, please hang on. Let me drop a little bit more, man. All right? Let me share with you guys a little piece of something that affects black people, but it affects white people too, but most white people don't think about it. When we talk about the prison industrial complex, when we talk about the over-indexing of black folks incarcerated, it affects you just as much. You just don't realize it. This is what I mean. I don't mean by the sheer numbers. If there are 10 people in jail, and there's 5 white guys and 5 black guys, there's still more black guys in jail because we only make up 13% of the population. I don't know why that math, very simple, very understandable. Some people don't get it. Instead, I got to read comment after comment on a video, one of my videos, where somebody just doesn't understand that idea. It's 3 times. We're 3 times more likely for the same crime. But here's the point. This is the point you need to understand about the powers that be in America. You know what they do? They lock up people and then they employ them. See, once upon a time, you used to be able to drive down the street, drive down the road, and you see people working on the side of the road, doing pavement or doing cleanup. Those people were regular people with jobs. It wasn't the best job to clean up beside the road or do whatever, landscaping, but it was a job. People who would like to live indoors, out of the elements, would do that job. Maybe run a business doing that job, right? These are just not random people cleaning up beside the road. Back when I was growing up, the people cleaning up outside the road were probably working for a company. Now when you ride down the side of the road, who's cleaning up? Who's doing the landscaping jobs on the road now? Inmates. The company that used to employ the people who did that, they probably no longer exist. And the people who used to do it, who could find a job to stay indoors, no longer have that as an option. How much do you think the government or whoever is paying to have those inmates clean that road? See, it's all about money. It may not affect you directly, but it can affect you indirectly. Because think of all the jobs the prison industrial complex takes up that regular people could be doing if we're not for prison labor doing it for a fraction of the cost. It's sort of like what happened back in the day, which really pitted white people against black people. This is what happened. They said they're going to take your jobs. You got to be and survive. These former slaves now want jobs. There's only so many jobs. They're going to take your job. It's the same idea. Now it's different. The only difference is now they're using inmates to take your job. Whoever they could pay less. That's why unions were created. We got to think about these things. We have to think. You know what? Stop thinking about color. Start thinking about your pocket, and then we can get some stuff done. Once we stop thinking about our team, we put our team on the back burner, and we start being more focused on what? On what helps our families. Stop thinking about team. Think about family. Think about what benefits the family. And if we all vote what benefits the family, more often than not, we're going to end up at the same place. So is it better for us to keep locking up people for weed so they can go in jail and do the job that your son could have got? Or is it better to say, you know what, legalize that weed, tax the weed, legalize it, and let my son have that damn job? But instead, you're going to get somebody on Fox News to scare you about the dangers of weed. Meanwhile, they'll tell you, go buy 2 Big Macs for $1 a piece. But see, weed will kill you. Drugs are bad for you, but eat as much of the McDonald's and Wendy's as you want. Supersize your Big Gulp. All right, I'm off my soapbox. I hope somebody something hit you. Because it's real deal. It's the truth. It's what you're not going to hear on mainstream news. They tell you what to be afraid. They create something to make you be afraid of it, and they tell you that, and they keep pointing you, tell you, look at that, look at that. Meanwhile, there's somebody behind you with a knife, cutting you, and they keep telling you, this is scary, and you keep looking at it, and that's what's going on, and that's what they're doing, and the purpose, one of the purposes of this channel, is to expose the guy behind you with the knife. All right. Thank you for holding. I think this is my friend. Hey, you're live with Tim Black. Are you there? Did you want to talk tonight?
Yes, I'm here.
I tried to get you earlier, Kim, and you couldn't hear me or something. Maybe you ran out the room.
I hit the mute button and didn't realize it.
All right, I'm like, damn, I don't know. Because I know sometimes you listen to the show on the phone, and I was like, well, I'm just going to come back to her. I ain't going to hang up on her. That's my people's. How are you doing, Kim?
Oh, no. I'm doing it. I was glad that it turned out that way because it was good to hear what other people had to say because affirmative action, I know a lot about too as well because, I worked in the construction industry for 17 years as a welder. And I've seen how the gang worked, and I worked all the time. And what they would do with me is I was the double whammy, black woman. So that's the double whammy, black woman.
Right.
And so they would keep me so they could get their affirmative action hours, and then the black men that would come, they would only work a short time and let them go to just keep me. So I knew what the gang was, because my father had already told me, because he was a pipe fitter. So I already knew what was going on. So I didn't look down at black men. And the thing that was sad, they would pay me a flag. And I was certified in every application at 19 years old, and I got highest honors in everything that I did. So it's the same old crap, even in construction, that black people have to be overachievers. And I'm sitting in the middle of San Francisco with a fucking flag.
Yep.
And I'm the best welder on the job.
Yep.
And every job that I went to, I had to prove myself. I had to prove myself. Or they would get in a situation where it was so complicated or something would break down, and then it was like it was painful to them. They would say, okay, we got to go get her to do it. Just to have a job. And then my husband, he was an iron worker for 35 years. He got in the industry when he was 17 years old, and he fought from the beginning to the end. And my husband's a really strong man, and I've seen tears come out of his eyes because all he wanted to do was work. And so I said this to one of my foremen one day. I said, I know y'all don't want us here. I said, you pissed off that we come to work on time? You pissed off that we know what we're doing? I don't know what y'all fucking problem is. Construction is a nasty business. I know the drill. I know that's the only work I ever done. That's the advantage that I had over a lot of the other women. The men brought me up. You know, they trained me in school, but then when you get the work, you get retrained as well. Right. So I know how that industry works, and I know that I was being used. And I only had a high school diploma, and I know that was a good job to get, but I also understood I was being used for a certain purpose. And black women have to realize that is done by design. You'll see black men coming and going. So don't I know a lot about this.
Yep. You know what? You just hit on something that's so important, and stay right there, Kim. Stay right there. You just hit on something so important, where black women are being used against black men, and they don't know it. And since they don't know it, Kim, what they tend to do is look down on brothers and say, "You ain't doing shit." Not realizing that the system, not having the wisdom that you have, Kim, to know it's a system thing. You understand?
Yes, it is.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's racism in the system, but they don't know it, and they're getting help from the establishment, right? The powers that be, white supremacy, whatever you want to call it, powers that be, the old boy network, whatever words you want to give it, you can give it. Whatever makes you comfortable, folks. At the end of the day, it's rich old white guys who run that shit, and that black woman can benefit because you benefit the system. That's it. It's not because they like you anymore. It's not because this other person is not qualified or lacks the credentials or the ability. It's just you are chosen. That's it.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. My father prepared me for this.
Right.
But I wasn't fully prepared until I first seen what was really going on, because I was really young. And I never forget, there was a black guy, he was telling me he was having hell finding jobs. And he had a wife, and he had 2 kids, and he was a deacon in a church. And he was saying, well, he was so happy to get the job. And I knew they were going to get rid of him because they didn't like the way he looked. And the foreman and the superintendent.
Hold on, Kim. You said they didn't like the way he looked.
They didn't like the way he looked. He was a very muscular guy. He looked like he could just take you out. But he was very meek, and quiet. And I knew they didn't like it. They just didn't like the way he looked. I knew it. They felt intimidated by him.
That's the word.
And
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, there's the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wasn't trying to intimidate anyone. And so one day, the area where I'm working at, I'm listening to the foreman and the superintendent discussing how they are going to get rid of him. And tears started flowing out of my eyes. And I called my dad that night, and my dad said, "You need to dry up them damn tears, because that's going to happen more often, or you just get out of the industry." And I was in my early 20s. And I was like, wow, this man just got this job. And I know his wife probably thinking he ain't getting it together. And I've seen the whole gamut. Black guys that don't want to work and black guys that really want to work. And they just systematically get rid of them. Right. And I said, these people don't fully understand what they're doing. They are putting themselves in a dangerous situation when a man doesn't have ability to feed his family.
Yep.
That's not funny.
Nope, it's not.
It's not. Too many games out there.
Wow. You just brought back a memory for me that was a painful memory. I remember I worked for this company in Arlington, Virginia. It was a company that got contracts through the Department of Justice. And I remember I was doing really well at this job. I was a team leader at the time. I had about 30 junior paralegals working under me. And it was like, wow, I was really excelling. I was very happy. I was learning how to become a leader, and we were a very successful group. I remember some of the older sisters. One of my supervisor, my direct supervisor, was an older black woman. And I remember her calling me into the office. It was my review time. And she said, "Tim, you're really doing a great job. You really, we like you, blah, 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 blah." She said, "But there's only one thing." I said, "What's that?" She said, "You really got to smile more." And I said, "What do you mean smile more?" She said, "Yeah, Tim, you really have to smile more. You don't smile enough." And I was so crushed. I said, "What do you mean smile?" She said, "Tim, you a big black, dark black. You're a black, dark black man, and you're big. And frankly, some of the white people, they're scared of you. And the managers, they're intimidated by you. This is what you have to do." And she felt bad. She's like, "I feel bad telling you." And I knew I was visibly upset. She's like, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, baby, but it's what you got to do, baby, because you can't scare these white people. I said, "But I would never hurt anybody. I would never do that. That's not." She's like, "I know, baby, but I'm telling you." And about a year later, they let me go. Over some bullshit that was like, it was, and she was right. I hadn't learned it. I had to learn. You gotta do it. Oh, now, maybe that's happened to some of you white guys. Somebody called you to the side and said, "You are too scary. You too white." But I don't think you, maybe if you worked but you know what, if you're black, if you're white and you work at a black institution, you become the cool white guy.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right. We love that. We love the Richie Incognito, where we can make a white guy, like we call Clinton, Kim, an honorary black man, the first black president.
Yes.
Obama's the first black president, and I don't hear a lot of white people call him the first white president or a great white president. It's just, come on, man. It is what it is.
That's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen, but you feel what I'm saying, Kim?
Yes.
Oh wow.
But, I wanted to say one quick thing.
Sure.
For the people who care, and it doesn't matter the race.
Right.
Well, I'm going to exclude one race, the African American race, because I can only speak for our race. People don't fully realize the stress that we are under. And I can think about days when I would go to work on Monday. I would have knots in my stomach because I knew I was going to a war zone. And it took a toll on me to deal with the sheer nastiness and racism. And it made me look at the world like, sometimes when I was working, like, is this the whole world like this? And then I would even see my husband come home angry. But thank God that me and him collectively knew to leave it outside of the house.
Right.
But it is sickening to go to work day in and day out and be fucked with.
Yep.
And what America don't realize is they would be surprised if we started pulling out guns on these jobs and start shooting up on these jobs. People really just need to leave people alone, because pretty much, like, I go back to the human family. We just want to take care of our family and be left alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn it,
And
Kim.
I'll digress from that.
Kim, you are the shit. We love you, girl.
I'm trying.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you. Thank you for your knowledge,
You're
lady.
welcome.
Give it up for Kim, y'all. Wow. In fact, it's been taking me a while to detox from the corporate environment, even though it's been a minute. Before I started really doing YouTube full time, I started YouTube. I was working, but I was a consultant at the time. And don't get any grand ideas. I kind of fell into that. It was a good opportunity, but I was able to do both. But it's been taking a lot to detox and say, damn, I could be myself. And that's why I try. I've been trying not to come down so hard on people, because you never know where people come from. You know, I also want to say, this conversation tonight isn't just for black people or just for white people. Black people too. What white people need to know, and I get tired of feel like I got to go down the list of crayons. There are Asian folks who put up with some shit. I work with some Asian guys who put up with stuff. Native Americans put up with stuff. Everybody puts up. Middle Easterns put up with stuff. You know, especially in the light of the terror stuff. I worked in D.C. Every time there was anything on the news, it became an environment that was screwed up. But my point is this: everything that I come down on white folks for, everything, typically there's a black side of it where black people are the same attitude. We're all fed the same propaganda, folks. Not everybody's a revolutionary. There are black people who are harder on black people than white people ever could be. That's what I'm trying to tell you. When I'm talking to you guys, damn, who's my guys? Not Joseph. Gosh, I got so many people. Let me think. Rob, when I'm talking, Rob, I'm not just talking to you, bruh. I'm talking to when I rap. When I rap, I'm knowing when I rap, and Joseph Labonte and my man Young Dread and my man Carlos or whoever they may be, right? My man Brooklyn, Warren Lee. We know some black people are harder on black people than white people are. They discriminate. I remember being the smartest person in the room. The manager on a government contract, and having black people go past me to the guy I had just started training because he was white. They thought he knew more. And he looked at me like, Tim, please help me. And oh, the look on their faces when he called me over like, Tim, please, I don't know what to do, Tim. And then I got to come over. Oh, yeah, no problem. No problem. I got you, man. I'm trying to tell you, these are not, it's not in a bubble. We are all affected by these stereotypes and this crap, okay? So when I talk about it, it's not, and I'm not telling you this to kiss your ass either. I don't kiss asses. I'm telling you this because it's the truth. I have to walk a very delicate line on all sides in order to deliver a message that's different, that doesn't just speak to one group of people. But I have to come back and reiterate this, but I have to do it delicately because they will come for me, folks. Oh, they will come for me. They will come for me, and I will be every bad name in the book. But what I'm trying to tell you is that everything I say here applies to everybody. It really does. It really does. For people who are just as ruined in the brain as any white racist in the hills of Kentucky who can't stand them darkies, there are black people the same way. Hell, man, when I remember, real quick, guys, I remember I went to pick up a bottle of wine a few months ago, and it was right after, who got shot? John Crawford, maybe. And I said it to the guy who's a black guy, older black guy, looked like he's about the late 50s. Mid to late 50s. I said, hey, man, you hear about that young man thinking I'm going to get some material for my show, right? Because I don't just tell people I have a YouTube channel and what I'm doing. I don't do that. That's not I ain't, I don't want people to think I'm bragging about YouTube channel, But I'm always looking for opportunity to use or to get an interview or do some different stuff, right? I'm thinking I can whip out my phone and talk to him. I asked this guy, I said, so did you hear about that guy getting shot in the Walmart? He said, huh? I said, the guy gets shot in the Walmart with the gun. They sell guns in the Walmart. Black guy gets shot in a gun because they get shot in the Walmart with a gun in a place where they sell guns, holding up the gun where they sell the guns. He said, well, he probably did something else. You know how niggas are. He was black. Do you think a white guy would have said that to me? Probably not to me. He may have said it to somebody else. But I'm just telling you, this is what I deal with. I said, well, I don't want to interview this guy because what? Because he'll project this horrible image that too many racists on YouTube would be like, see, he's right. Oh, I love Tim. Now I got a bunch of subscribers who love me, who subscribe to me now because I made that video reinforcing the stereotypes they want to believe about black folks. And some people go with that. And they got 100,000, 200, 300,000 subscribers, and they brag about it. When all they're doing is exploiting negative aspects of the black community for racist people and for the damaged brain people who think that is reality and think that way that you help people who are obviously impoverished or stupid or misinformed, shut off, is by beating them up and embarrassing them and painting one side of the equation constantly. That's the way you help them. So anyway, I just thought, I know I went far, I went long, man, but I got to get that out there. This is something that I've experienced. I see firsthand that I know, and I just want people to know it. Because I get too many people. After I do a show like this, man, they want to talk to me about. They want to talk to me. They don't understand what I'm saying. They really don't. All right. Hook up for jobs. Recommendations. Criminal record. Sounds of the name. GI Bill. Work based on merit. St. Louis marches. Jail executive orders. I think we touched on a lot of stuff. So back to the affirmative action piece that we got off of. Fact. The primary beneficiaries of affirmative action are white women. Abigail Fisher did not benefit. Somebody else did, though. And based on percentages, it was probably a white woman. It just wasn't you, Abigail. And I don't know what to tell you. It took me a long time to accept that everything was a merit. I had to learn that. And it was hard for me because I always looked at it, guys. I looked at it like, once I start thinking that it's out of my control, then I lose control. I like to believe that I control my destiny. I control where I go. I control how far I go. And people will say, yeah, Tim, you're right. You do. Or I love that attitude about you. That's why I really like you. But you know what? It ain't always the case, is it? It's not. I would like for it to be, but it's not. That's the reality of it. And though I have the tenacity, the drive, the stubbornness, all these things to keep going in the face of adversity, not everybody's built exactly the same. Some people are a little damaged. Some people have been called too many names. Some people don't love themselves enough. Some people have been taught not to love themselves. All types of stuff people been through that I don't know what they've been through. So I am not the litmus test of how good you could do on YouTube. Look at Tim Black. He's got 50,000 subscribers. And I begged, scratched, clawed, fought, avoided BS to get every one of them. Been on TV, everything. I had to go to LA to get 50,000 subscribers. Think about that. I had to go on national TV to get 50,000 subscribers. Talking about the shit I talk about. And I don't talk hate. And I'm not saying that's nothing, but that's a dream for some people. Some people dream of going on a show one day. Some people dream of getting flown to LA to go on national television. I did that, and I'm still in my basement. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Hell, you got chosen. You got the goal. I'm just saying. It's all in how you look at it. I didn't set out. That's not the goal. The goal. I didn't have a goal to begin with. To begin with, I just like speaking. I'd done some speaking before, and I figured, what the heck? I got a camera. I'm gonna talk about stuff that's important to me. Maybe I don't have to go get speaking engagements. I can speak from here, and then that'll help me get speaking engagements. This is something I love to do. I wrote and I spoke. So anyway, enough about me, guys. All I'm saying is, don't look at me and determine that this is like this means there's no racism. Somebody asked me to do something on that. Don't talk about YouTube and racism and what do you think about you know what? It exists, and we be fools to act like it don't. But there's good people. Most of the people who contribute to my show are white. Go figure. So there goes some humanity restoral there. My biggest supporters are white. For all the Mike Brown videos, for all the Tamir Rice videos, for all the India Kager videos, for all the other police brutality videos, my biggest supporters are white guys. No white women. A couple sisters have supported me, and a couple brothers, and the rest are all white guys. So I don't know. Is there hope? There's hope. There's hope. There is hope. But when it comes to affirmative action, guys, by and large, guys, we need it. If anything, if you want to modify that shit. Modify it so the wives of the husbands, seriously, the wives of husbands who already make a lot of money, right, can't rig the system by getting their wife to apply for the thing while they run it and reap the benefits. Rig it that way. But no, we don't want to do that. We just want to stop some what we have in our mind is some black person who never cracks a book getting in some place. That's what it's all the way boiled down to. When I agree with the gentleman who I couldn't hear too well, we need to focus on business. But see, not everybody is built to own a business. It's hard as hell to own a business. That's why most people don't own businesses. That's the way to go if you can go that way. And if you cut off all other choices, I guess that's the way I've decided to go. I'm losing a lot of money doing it. Believe me, sometimes I wonder how I'm going to make it doing that. But it's the path that I've chosen. I cannot turn back. I burnt my bridges. The first time I probably did a John Crawford video or just shit it on the system like I've done, I'm pretty sure my boats have been burned. You feel me? So I would suggest get your own business for affirmative action. Ain't nothing more affirmative than your action on your own behalf. Long before there were places to work or abilities to work for other people, we had to work for ourselves. Had to create our own. We had to feed our own families somehow. We had to build our own homes. So that's what we got to do. I'm Tim Black, guys. Thank you so much. Join the Facebook group. Help me come up with ideas like today's. And for real, I know that this subject could be a lot. I need to get better at crafting subjects because we go all over. There's so much meat left on this bone. It's a disgrace to throw it out. There's so much more about affirmative action I didn't cover. You know what I mean? Brooklyn, you're right. Brooklyn said it's a shame that blacks don't support each other as they should. Whites support more like you said. Yeah, it's true. They don't. And some of that is just like I just said, man. Racism cuts both ways. And so does negativity, everything. It does. We ain't going to fix it in one show, but we're going to get some different thoughts out there. So go to facebook.com, look up Tim Black's Speak On It group, and join the group and help me come up with the next topic. The next uncomfortable, let's think about some stuff topic that we can do. Because we don't have to be like mainstream media that just keeps talking about the same crap. What they doing right now? Demonizing some Arabs? Demonizing some Muslims right now? What are we missing? They talking about Trump's hair again? We already talked about Trump's hair. How many times we going to talk about Trump's hair? You know what I mean? You feel me? All right. What a great show, guys. Thank you so much. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock, I'll be here. I will be here 9 o'clock tomorrow unless I'm physically unable to be here. I expect to be here tomorrow. Let me get some shout-outs, man. First, I'm going to go with me and Cat. You right here in my hand. Brooklyn, man. What's up, bro? You're right. I agree with you. Belinda is my trapeze artist. Landing Point. What's up, Landing Point? They call it connections. Yep, we call it connections. What are connections? Affirmative action ain't nothing but trying to give black people connections. But actually, it's not just black people. See, there I go. It's to give disadvantaged minorities connections. Because people need connections to compete. She does the aerial thing. Madison Clifton. What up, Madison? Rob. It's good. Cool. DQs. What's up, D? DeQuessy? I'm not sure. DeQuessy? 1157. Susie. Lydia. Eric Shane, 45. Laura. The fabulous Laura. How you doing, Laura? My NASCAR guy. NASChart Inc. What's up? And my people over on YouTube. Mike in the house. Juanita. What up, Juanita? Mr. Cotel 19. Demar Bivens said connections. It's all about connections. You gotta have connections. David Krinky. Carpet cleaning company. Living month to month. I feel you, David. You know what? I feel you. Go do 900 YouTube videos. And whatever business you're trying to do, somebody stop buying from it if you do 900 of them. Don't be like that guy who did the one video. Hey, Tim, I did a video on YouTube, man. My first one. Could you give me some pointers? I said, go do 50 more. 50 more? Yeah, do 50 more, then holler back at me, you lazy bastard. Hell is wrong with you? You know what? You're doing your first one, do 50 more. And I bet you will have increased or progressed so much in number 50, you won't want to show anybody the first one. You want to take that shit down because you're going to get so much better by 50. The Chola, the Cloa and Choey. No white woman supports you, Tim. Nah. White ladies don't mess with me like that. He's talking about financially, guys. Financially. It's a joke. He's joking. The white women don't like you. No, I'm just saying. I'm just talking about people who support me, man. I gotta shout out my supporters. They know who they are, man. Hell, man, anybody who dig in their pocket to help this show, I appreciate them. All right? They send me a lot of stories, though. Oh, my God. White ladies send me lots of stories. Every time I turn around, a white woman sending me a story that she want me to do. My cousin's dog, my nephew. Could you give to the show? My cousin's dog and my nephew. Get out of here. Man. What's up? Hey, look, I want to give a shout out to my callers, man. You know, Montague, it's the Montague and Tim Black show tonight. Thank you, Montague. The gentleman who I couldn't hear that well, great Kim, you killed it. Nothing like dropping it straight to it, bam, and just dropped that and just kept it moving, you know? It's like she shot the ball and walked away before it even hit the net. You knew? She already knew she scored. Ding. All right. Mike's in the house. Man, what's up, dog? Rizzo, Mike? What up, man? Eclectic Tyrone. Eclectic. That's a long name, bruh. You got to earn a name like Eclectic Tyrone. What's up, Black said what? What did Black say? Black said what? When I rap, what up, man? $1 Big Macs. You know what's up. Tonight's show was so controversial, I will go and I will make this show available for all to look at again, okay? I typically don't do that. I typically reserve all the shows for people who support the channel so they can watch the archives. But tonight, hell, man, I don't think anybody else is going to have a more frank discussion on affirmative action than us. So I want to make sure other people can watch it, all right? Thinking that I really shouldn't do that, man. People won't watch the whole video and it hurt my channel. I got to think about that. I'm sorry, guys. I got to think about it. Maybe I'll put a couple pieces of it up there. Yeah, I'll put pieces. I won't put my long monologue. That way, if I ever need to go get a job, I'll still be able to get one. All right, guys, let's play the music and get out of here. You never know, man. I ain't above there. I got to feed people. I got to feed them. Right? Let's play some music, man. So that was, look at you. You sitting on the trapeze as I'm doing this. You go do Circus Soleil, Belinda. So anybody, I hope somebody feels a little bit, they got a little different side of the equation in affirmative action. Propaganda, man. It's all propaganda. It really is. Same thing with same thing with welfare. Who they show getting welfare, same shit. Hell. All right. Tim Black. Tim Black. Tim Black. Yes, I am. True. Funny. Tim Black. I am TimBlack.com. Tim Black. You know it, man. I will put it on the DC channel. That's a good idea. Both Rob and Brooklyn, Maine, supporters of my channel. I appreciate you guys, and you're right. That's a good idea. I will put it on the DC channel. So if you want to watch this rest of this video, or watch this video again, go to the Brooklyn channel. Not the Brooklyn channel. See, man, see Brooklyn, see what you did, man? Go to the DC, Tim Black DC News channel. DC Trending News channel. All right? All right. I'm gone. I'll see you tomorrow, man. Hey, look, I'm serious. I need you guys to help me come up with an idea, a topic for tomorrow. I got lucky tonight pulling this title out, this topic out. Need the idea. Wow, yes, we out of here. All right. I got you, babe. I got you, babe. I want to see Chirac. I want to see Chirac just so I can tell you about Chirac. Because I'm hearing so many negative things about Chirac, the movie by Spike Lee. I got to see it myself. Right? So I can give you a comprehensive review of Chirac. I hope to do that this weekend. All right? Not because I want to see it, because I really don't want to see it, but it's like something I feel like I need to see. Because he's getting beat up so badly, and I can't comment on it because I haven't seen it. So either you send me the BitTorrent. Sorry. Jokes. All right. Bye, guys. Peace. Mike said I told y'all my life story. I didn't tell you my life story, Mike. Oh, I'd have told you about that body I caught back in 93. It was a light-skinned dude named Rizzo. Looked just like you. Feel me? Joking. Like, oh my God, Tim was a gangbanger. No, man, joking. It's the bubonic, the bubonic, the bubonic blood. What is it? What was it, man? Corey Holcomb? Man, you bubonic blood, you nasty mother. See, I could do the Corey Holcomb. That's the Corey Holcomb. And some people are like, what is Corey Holcomb? He's a comedian, man, funny dude. The bubonic blood. Go to 5150, old nasty ass. Ratchet. All right, I'm gone, man. That's crazy. I did an imitation, a half-ass imitation of Corey Holcomb. The Book of Corinthians. Oh, let me hang up. Thank you for watching. If you're in, all you people, thank you for watching. Rate this podcast. Stop being lazy, damn it. Rate the podcast. Or I'm going to send Dark Rizzo and Corey Holcomb to break your legs. I'm out. Bass, how low can you go? Later, Bass. Once again, back is the incredible, indelible, infleshable P. Public